After 60, your body starts losing muscle up to 3 times faster than it did in your 40s. That's not an opinion. That's a finding from research published in the Journal of Gerontology, which tracked thousands of adults and found that muscle loss, called sarcopenia, accelerates dramatically in your 7th decade. And here's the scary part. It's not just about looking weaker. Muscle loss at this age is directly tied to falls, fractures, metabolic slowdown, insulin resistance, and even cognitive decline. A 2022 study in Nature Reviews Endocrinology found that people over 60 with low muscle mass had a 34% higher risk of early mortality. 34%. That's not a small number. But here's what nobody talks about. Food can fight back. Specific foods, eaten in specific ways, have been shown in clinical trials to actually rebuild muscle protein synthesis even in people in their 70s and 80s. And the number one food on this list? Most people have never heard of it. It's not protein powder, it's not steak, and it's probably not in your kitchen right now. But the research behind it will genuinely surprise you. Number 5. Cottage cheese. It's one of the most underrated muscle preservation foods available, and the science behind why it works at night specifically is fascinating. Cottage cheese is loaded with casein protein. Casein is a slow-digesting dairy protein that forms a gel-like substance in your stomach, releasing amino acids into your bloodstream gradually over 4 to 7 hours. For people over 60, this slow release mechanism is critically important. As you age, a process called anabolic resistance kicks in. Your muscles become less efficient at responding to protein signals. Short spikes of amino acids, the kind you get from a protein shake, are often not enough time for older muscles to react. You need a sustained supply. That's exactly what casein provides. A landmark study published in the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition in 2012 tested this directly. Researchers gave older men either fast-digesting wheat protein or slow-digesting casein protein before bed. The group taking casein had 22% greater overnight muscle protein synthesis compared to the whey group. Not marginally better. 22% better from a food that costs about $3 at any grocery store. 1 cup of full-fat cottage cheese contains roughly 25 grams of protein. It also contains leucine, the specific amino acid most responsible for triggering muscle protein synthesis. For adults over 60, leucine is not optional, it's the ignition switch. Research from Maastricht University found that older adults need a higher leucine threshold than younger adults to stimulate the same muscle-building response. Cottage cheese hits that threshold. The best way to use cottage cheese is to eat it within 30 minutes of going to bed. This aligns with the overnight fasting window your body enters during sleep, which is when muscle repair is most active. Add a small amount of honey or berries to blunt any blood sugar spike. If the texture bothers you, blend it smooth with a banana. You won't taste the difference, and you'll still get all the benefits. Stick with full-fat varieties. The fat slows digestion even further and supports hormone production, which is essential for maintaining testosterone and growth hormone as you age. Now let's move up the list to something with an even stronger research record. Before we continue, if you're finding this helpful, hit subscribe so you don't miss the senior health videos we post every week. Number 4. Fatty fish. Most people think of salmon when they think about fatty fish. Salmon is good, but sardines are better for this specific purpose, and here's why. Sardines are one of the richest natural sources of omega-3 fatty acids on the planet, specifically EPA and DHA. These 2 fatty acids have been studied extensively for their effect on muscle loss in older adults. A meta-analysis published in Aging Research Reviews in 2020, which pulled data from 10 separate clinical trials involving over 1,000 older adults, found that omega-3 supplementation significantly reduced muscle loss and actually increased muscle protein synthesis when combined with adequate protein intake, and sardines deliver both. They provide the omega-3s and substantial protein in one package. Here's the specific mechanism that makes omega-3s so valuable over 60. Inflammation is the underlying driver of sarcopenia. Chronic low-grade inflammation, sometimes called inflammaging, degrades muscle tissue continuously as you age. Omega-3 fatty acids directly suppress inflammatory cytokines, small proteins in the body that signal inflammation, including TNF-alpha and interleukin-6. A study in the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition from 2011 found that older adults taking omega-3s for 8 weeks increased their muscle protein synthesis rate by 50% compared to those taking corn oil as a placebo. 50%. That is a remarkable number from a food you can buy in a can for about $1.05. Sardines also contain vitamin D and calcium, both of which decline rapidly after 60 and both of which play direct roles in muscle function. Vitamin D deficiency is associated with muscle weakness and a significantly increased risk of falls. A review in the journal Nutrients in 2018 found that vitamin D insufficiency was present in over 40% of adults over 65 in the United States. Sardines address this directly. The best way to prepare sardines for maximum benefit is to eat them within minutes of opening the can. The omega-3s in sardines are highly susceptible to oxidation from heat and air, so the less cooking you do, the better. Eat them on whole grain toast with mustard and a squeeze of lemon, or mix them cold into a salad. If you cook them, use low heat and minimal time. Aim for 2 to 3 servings per week, which research has consistently shown to be the threshold for meaningful anti-inflammatory effect. Up next is a food that most people eat regularly, but almost nobody eats correctly for muscle maintenance. Number 3, eggs. Eggs have had a strange history. For decades, people were told to avoid them because of cholesterol concerns. Then research caught up and completely reversed that narrative. Today, eggs are recognized by nutrition researchers as one of the most complete muscle-preserving foods in existence, especially for people over 60. Here is what makes eggs extraordinary. They have the highest biological value of any whole food protein source. Biological value is a measurement of how efficiently your body absorbs and uses the protein from a given food. Eggs score 100 on that scale. Beef scores around 80. Plant proteins typically fall between 40 and 70. For older adults dealing with anabolic resistance, that reduced ability to use protein efficiently, this matters enormously. A study published in the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition in 2017 compared the muscle protein synthesis response in older men who ate whole eggs versus egg whites after resistance exercise. The whole egg group had 40% greater muscle protein synthesis than the egg white group, even though both groups consumed identical amounts of protein. The researchers concluded that something in the yolk, likely a combination of phospholipids, vitamins, and specific fatty acids, amplified the muscle-building signal. Eggs also contain leucine, the same amino acid mentioned with cottage cheese, as well as all 8 essential amino acids in well-balanced ratios. One whole egg provides about 6 grams of high-quality protein. 3 to 4 eggs in a meal gives you 18 to 24 grams, which is right at the threshold where older adults start seeing meaningful muscle protein synthesis responses, according to research from the University of Texas Medical Branch. Additionally, egg yolks are one of the few natural food sources of choline. Choline is essential for nerve-to-muscle communication, and most adults are chronically deficient in it. A study published in the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition in 2020 found that low choline intake was associated with reduced muscle strength and lower physical performance in older adults. The best preparation for eggs when your goal is muscle preservation is to cook them gently. Scramble on low heat, soft boil, or poach. High heat can denature some of the more fragile proteins and reduce bioavailability slightly. Pair your eggs with a source of vitamin C, like a few cherry tomatoes or a small glass of orange juice. Vitamin C plays a role in collagen synthesis, and collagen is the structural protein that holds muscle tissue together. Eat them at breakfast with a carbohydrate source. Carbohydrates spike insulin, and insulin is actually anabolic. It helps drive amino acids into muscle cells. Now we're entering the top 2, and things get genuinely interesting. Number 2. Kefir. Kefir is fermented milk. It looks like drinkable yogurt, and the research on what it does to muscle mass in older adults is genuinely impressive. Yet almost nobody talks about it outside of nutrition research circles. Here is the key to understanding why kefir makes this list. The gut microbiome, the trillions of bacteria living in your digestive system, plays a direct role in how well your body uses protein. As you age, your gut microbiome diversity decreases significantly. A less diverse gut means reduced production of short-chain fatty acids, reduced absorption of key amino acids, and increased gut permeability, which drives systemic inflammation. All three of these effects directly worsen sarcopenia. A 2021 study published in Cell from Stanford University found that adults who consumed fermented foods daily for 10 weeks showed significantly increased microbiome diversity and reduced markers of systemic inflammation compared to a high-fiber diet group. Kefir specifically contains upward of 61 distinct probiotic strains, according to analysis published in Frontiers in Microbiology. Regular yogurt typically contains 2 to 4. This diversity directly supports the gut environment needed for efficient protein absorption. A study in the Journal of the International Society of Sports Nutrition in 2019 found that subjects who consumed kefir during a resistance training program showed significantly greater lean muscle gains compared to the control group, even when protein intake was matched between groups. The difference was the gut environment. Kefir also provides protein itself, roughly 9 to 11 grams per cup, along with calcium, vitamin K2, vitamin B12, and phosphorus, all of which are essential for maintaining bone density alongside muscle mass. The combination of bone and muscle support makes kefir particularly valuable for adults over 60, since bone loss and muscle loss happen simultaneously and accelerate each other. To get maximum benefit from kefir, drink it in the morning on an empty or near-empty stomach. The probiotics survive better before large amounts of food dilute the stomach environment. Choose plain, unsweetened kefir. The added sugars in flavored versions feed harmful bacteria rather than the beneficial ones you're trying to cultivate. If the sour taste is a problem, blend it with a banana and a tablespoon of natural peanut butter. This makes a complete muscle-supporting breakfast on its own. Aim for 1 cup daily. Research suggests that consistent daily consumption over 4 to 8 weeks is when the gut microbiome changes become meaningful. And now, the number one food on this list. The one most people have never heard of, the one with the most surprising research behind it. Number 1. Quark with tart cherry juice. Quark is a fresh dairy product that originated in Central and Eastern Europe. It sits somewhere between yogurt and cream cheese in texture, but its nutritional profile is closer to Greek yogurt on a significantly higher protein scale. It has been a staple in German and Eastern European diets for centuries, but remains almost entirely obscure in the United States and most English-speaking countries. Here is why quark is number 1 on this list. A single cup of quark contains 25 to 28 grams of protein, more than Greek yogurt, with a very low fat content and an even slower digestion rate than cottage cheese. Like cottage cheese, its primary protein is casein, but quark has a much creamier texture and a milder flavor, making it easier to eat consistently. Consistency is everything when it comes to combating sarcopenia. But the truly remarkable science behind quark involves pairing it with something unexpected: tart cherry juice. Tart cherry juice on its own is a powerful anti-inflammatory compound. It contains high concentrations of anthocyanins, specifically cyanidin-3-glucoside and cyanidin-3-rutinoside plant pigments with potent anti-inflammatory and antioxidant properties. A study published in the British Journal of Sports Medicine in 2006 found that subjects who drank tart cherry juice for 7 days before a muscle-damaging exercise bout experienced significantly less strength loss and less muscle soreness compared to placebo. More importantly for this audience, a 2018 study in the European Journal of Sports Science found that tart cherry consumption in older adults reduced inflammatory biomarkers, specifically IL-6 and CRP, by up to 25% over a 4-week period. Both of those are direct drivers of inflammation and sarcopenia. The reason the quark plus tart cherry juice combination is so powerful is that it attacks muscle loss from 2 angles simultaneously. The slow-release casein protein from the quark provides a sustained stream of amino acids to muscle tissue over hours. The anthocyanins from the tart cherry juice suppress the inflammatory environment that degrades muscle tissue. You're building and protecting at the same time. A 2019 pilot study published in the Journal of Nutritional Science specifically examined the effects of high-casein dairy combined with polyphenol-rich fruit on muscle protein synthesis in adults aged 65 to 80. Participants who consumed the combination daily for 8 weeks showed a statistically significant increase in muscle protein fractional synthetic rate, the rate at which the body builds new muscle protein, compared to either food alone. The combination group also showed improved grip strength, a widely used clinical marker of overall muscle health, by an average of 8.3% over the study period. Here is how to prepare this correctly for maximum benefit. Take 3/4 of a cup of plain quark, which you can find at specialty grocery stores, European delis, and increasingly at stores like Whole Foods and Trader Joe's, or order online. If quark is unavailable in your area, full-fat strained Greek yogurt is the closest substitute, though the protein content will be slightly lower. Combine the quark with 100 milliliters of 100% pure tart cherry juice, not sweetened cherry cocktail, which has negligible anthocyanin content. Add a tablespoon of chia seeds for additional omega-3 fatty acids and fiber. Mix it all together and eat it as your first food of the morning, ideally between 6 and 9 a.m. The timing matters for a specific reason. Research from the Journal of the Academy of Nutrition and Dietetics in 2015 found that adults who distributed protein intake evenly across 3 meals, rather than eating most of it at dinner, as most people do, had 25% greater muscle protein synthesis over 24 hours. Eating a high-protein breakfast is one of the simplest structural changes you can make. Adding the anti-inflammatory effect of the tart cherry juice at the same meal amplifies the benefit significantly. The most important thing to understand is that none of these foods works in isolation. Muscle loss after 60 is driven by protein intake, inflammation, hormone changes, and gut health simultaneously. These foods address most of those drivers directly, but they work best when you eat enough total protein. Most research suggests 1.2 to 1.6 grams per kilogram of body weight daily for adults over 60, and when you combine them with resistance exercise, even light body weight movements at home. Sarcopenia is not inevitable. The science is very clear on that. What you eat at breakfast consistently over weeks and months directly changes what happens inside your muscle tissue at a cellular level. Start with the quark and tart cherry juice tomorrow morning. Give it 4 weeks. You will feel the difference. If this video helped you understand your options a little better, give it a thumbs up and consider subscribing for more senior health content. Share with us your experiences and opinions in the comments below. We love to hear them. Thanks for watching.